Welcome to Season 3, Episode 13 of The Tree of Geek. On today's episode, we are going to be taking a quick little deep dive into a recent, amazing release that Michael and I both had the privilege of going to see, not opening night, but the next night, Thunderbolts by Marvel. Michael.
I don't think you have the title right. I think it's the new Avengers.
Well, it depends.
They changed the movie posters and stuff.
I did see that. Yeah. I did. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you will. Before we get into anything, though, let's jump back to our current reality. Michael, how are you, and what is new in your world?
Man, I'm fired up right now. I'm not going to say why I'm fired up. It's just, man, some human beings got me fired up, but that's fine. We're going to work through it. We're going to work through it because when you go through trauma and you go through depression and things make you really upset, all you can do is just
push it down,
like Ricky Bobby said before, or you can pick yourself back up and work on it, day in, day out, just like Wyatt Russell says. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. But I'm okay. I'm going to use that energy to go through this episode.
I like it. Do you have anything new in Geek that you want to get through?
Man, I had to scrub through some things because this is kind of last minute. We were going to do a completely different episode, and I said, well, how about we do this one instead? It makes more sense, more relevant, I suppose.
That is true. We did advertise on the last episode that this week would be the Wheel of Time.
Well, surprise! That one person that listened all the way to the end, they're the one disappointed person.
John's the only one who knew. So.
Yeah, because he was here.
And Eric.
New and Geek for me. I did not watch an episode last night because we didn't watch something too heavy, but we are one episode behind of The Last of Us Season 2. Man, I never played the games before. I mean, I had an idea what was going on, but wow, it's a nut punch. I'm not a video game guy. We know I'm not a huge video game guy. However, a long time ago for my birthday, we did go 50-50 on a VR. Well, I've only paid more than 50%, so it was kind of a birthday present. Point is, I decided a couple weeks ago, this thing's just sitting here like every other thing collecting dust. Let me get on here, mess around. The problem is I get motion sickness pretty easily. So let me see if I can find something that isn't super motiony, if that makes sense. So I found VR bowling, and I loved it. And then I found this thing called Synth Riders, which I've implemented into my workouts. And that's really, really fun. Have you heard of any of these? Or the Synth, you know what bowling is, obviously.
I know what bowling is, yeah.
The Synth Rider, it's like the Beat Saber thing.
Yeah, I've seen Synth Riders advertised, but I'd never actually watched any of the videos or tried it or anything.
I'm going through on the easy levels now, but it's fun because it's all like synthwave techno right now. And you just kind of move your body with the beat. It's pretty cool. For all you wrestling fans out there, you probably know by now, WWE has released a crap ton of wrestlers. Again, Braun Strowman, Shotzi Blackheart, bunch of wrestlers that, hopefully some of them show up in AEW, but man, I haven't watched wrestling in a minute. I don't got time. But yeah, so they're releasing more people. Now, Josh, and one thing before I get to this, Liverpool has won the European League Championship. Congratulations to all those people out there. Mohamed Salah, man, what a player he is. I'm not a huge soccer guy. Ted Lasso got me into it. I went through and I picked all my teams from every sport I could think of. And I was like, what about the European League? And I was going through, I was like, this Liverpool seems pretty cool. Liverpool is a town nearby here. It's 40 minutes away, something like that. So I was like, I'm going to just choose Liverpool. And boom, they win the championship.
You're the lucky charm.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The Pistons.
I'm gonna need you to root for the Flyers next year.
Oh, yeah. How about that?
Didn't even make it.
The Flyers didn't make it. The Red Wings didn't make it. My other team, the Kraken, didn't make it.
The Kraken? What?
Yeah, Seattle Kraken. I chose one from each side.
Oh, okay.
I have I do two teams, just in case.
Gotcha. Now, my brother, his team, the Capitals, made it, and he's like, so you're gonna root for them now? I'm like, no, absolutely not.
No, absolutely no.
I'm like, no.
Ew, no. Gross. But you and I said at the very beginning of the show, we will never really, we might throw a zinger out here and there, and that's usually just me, but about, any politics things. But I don't know with what anything is ever going to happen. But there's a rumor, because we're talking about a movie here that was definitely filmed not in America fully. If any of it was shot here, I don't know. But there's a possibility we're going to start charging charging. I don't know who exactly we're charging, but somebody wants to start charging money for movies not made here, and it makes zero sense. So
to view them, or
our elected official wants to put tariffs on movies not filmed in the U.S. I don't know how that works because it's more of a concept. It's not like a physical thing. I mean, some of it's shot here, some of it's shot there. The distributors are from different places. I don't know what the fucking plan is, but I read it right before we went on air, and I was like, you got to be, you're kidding me. What do you have anything for New England? I needed a laugh today, so I mean,
there you go. That'll do.
Oh my god!
Just a few real quick. Like you were saying, I have also gotten back into VR. So I had the Oculus Rift S, which if anybody follows VR, they know that's a pretty old unit that has to be hooked directly to the computer.
I saw you got the one better than mine because I have the 3S now.
I don't know. Look,
you got the 3. You have better resolution than me.
Yes, but you have better battery life, I saw.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I was at Walmart just shopping around. I'd been saving a little bit because I had planned on buying a new one eventually. And I saw them in the case, and I'm like,
yeah, you sent me that photo. You're like, I might have made a mistake, or what did you say? Something.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I said like I did a thing. It was a bad thing. But it's the 512 gigabyte.
I have no idea what my gigabyte is. I have no idea. It's 3. A lot.
And I honestly thought Danae was going to be insane. Danae, my wife, was going to be like super pissed because I mean it was $500. I had 300 saved, and we just got paid. So, I mean, it kind of bounced out.
Yeah.
And she worked all weekend, so she never really got to mess with it. And then I think it was like Sunday night came around, and she walked into the living room holding it. She's like, so, and I'm like, all right, here it comes. She's like, how do you turn this on?
Oh, okay. All right.
And I showed her everything, and I heard her talking to her dad, because her dad has one. They love playing Beat Saber. They love compete.
Yeah. I was going to do that, but the Synth Riders was free because I have the MetaQuest Plus, and Beat Saber was like $40, $50 or something. I was like, well, I'm not spending that.
They're a very competitive family. Like, so they constantly, like, there's a group chat I can show you. They're always sending, hey, this song, here's my score. Oh yeah, well here's my score. Like,
wow,
people, like, give it a break. But I heard her talking to her dad, and she's like, Josh just bought me this new VR, and I'm like,
bought you this new VR? Like, what?
Well, I'm just like, all right, I can work with this. Yeah.
Take it, I guess. Take the credit.
Why not? I mean, she's not mad about it, so.
Like I said, take the win. If she's going to say it's for you, I mean, that you got it for her. I mean,
yeah, why not? And then I got the kids playing it a little bit because, I mean, there's still that age limit where the younger kids shouldn't be using it because of their eye development. So I'll let them play for like 10 minutes at a time. Just why not? And the 3-year-old wanted so badly to see the elevator that my 7-year-old kept talking about. Did you ever do the plank? You go up an elevator and
I'll get motion sickness.
You're just looking like you're not moving.
No, but everything's moving around me, and that's the problem.
It's closed in. So you just know the door's shut, but when they reopen, there's just this wooden plank out in front of you in the city down below, and all you got to do is walk out the...
Oh, Chris Evans did that, or Chris Hemsworth did in his stress video for Disney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well...
Where he was hooked up to VR.
My kids...
Like that would be fun. I'd be okay with that.
My kids love it and stuff. My 3-year-old really wanted to do the elevator, not knowing what it was. So I put it on her for a second, and I'm like, all right, now turn around. She turned around so she could see it, and she squealed and threw it off of her head. She's like, no. I'm like, okay.
Well, that's broke.
No. Like, they don't know the difference. Like, in my mind, I'm wondering if they can't really process the difference of reality versus not. And the last thing I want her to do is think that she could fall off and not get hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your kid's pretty smart.
Next thing I have is for Star Wars Day. So when we're recording
We're not talking about politics, man.
When we're recording this, yesterday was Star Wars Day.
Jesus, fuck.
How is that politics?
What, a picture of Donald Trump holding a lightsaber?
Oh, I didn't see that?
Yeah, well, for the one day it was him as the Pope, and then the next day somebody did one with a lightsaber.
Oh, my word.
Yeah.
No, what I was going to say is PlayStation had Star Wars Jedi Survivor for free for premium members.
Oh, yeah.
So I downloaded it and played for a while. And again, my 7-year-old was telling me where to go, what to do, and somehow she was right for most of it. Like, she was picking up on little things in the level, because it was like Assassin's Creed meets Star Wars. Like, you could climb stuff and And then my 3-year-old's like, here, I help. And she grabbed the controller and ran me straight off of a ledge. I'm like, thank you, sweetie. Thank you.
Wow.
But great game. I do recommend it. The redheaded dude that played the Joker in Gotham, Cameron something. I can't remember his name.
He's on Shameless.
Okay, well, he is the voice and image model. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. He's like the visual model as well.
Liam Gallagher.
It is such a really good game. I mean, I'm only a couple hours into it, but I do recommend it. It was worth playing. It was entertaining, and the gameplay itself felt really smooth, which I haven't sat and played a game like that in a very, very long time, so I enjoyed it.
I'm not playing another game or spending money until May of 2026 or 7 or 8 when GTA 6 finally comes out, because it's got delayed for another year.
I saw that, yep. And then the last thing I have is not to get into politics again, but...
Oh, here we go. Let's do it.
Supposedly, a certain somebody is now looking at reopening Alcatraz for some of the higher violence criminals.
I think he watched the Fox TV show and was mad that it never had an ending. It got canceled after season 1, so he's just like, you know what? We're just going to reopen this.
Now, I think
we're going to film it here.
I think he watched The Rock, not the wrestler The Rock, the movie The Rock.
I know.
With Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, and he's like,
Michael Biehn.
Yeah. What?
Michael Biehn from Aliens, isn't it?
Oh, yes. For some reason, you said Michael Biehn.
Harris.
I thought Mr. Bean, that English.
Why what?
I don't know. Okay, but look, that's all I've got. That's it.
That's fine. We don't need to ramble on any longer anyway. We don't be talking too much nonsense.
I'm so excited to get into this one. We just watched Thunderbolts 2 days ago at the theaters. I wish I could go see it again. I would. I should. On my lunch break.
Yeah.
No, so a heads up. This episode is not going to be censored. This episode will be our breakdown, our analysis, our theories, which means this episode is going to have
You don't even have notes. We're not doing any of that.
What?
You said you don't have notes. How are you going to have theories? Where's your...
In my head.
Okay, all right. But
this episode is going to be extremely heavy on spoilers.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not even going to do spoiler warning. We did it for this one, but the world wants to spoil me on everything. I'm not gonna put up warning signs for anybody anymore.
And you know, the guy who complained that we never said spoiler warning doesn't even listen anymore. So.
Oh well. All right. I'm just kidding, folks. I'll let you know when spoilers are happening. Right. I'm not that type of a rude person. I'm a different type of rude person.
But diving into this face first, Michael, what is or who is the Thunderbolts?
I'm glad you asked. The Thunderbolts, or New Avengers, or the West Chesapeake Valley Thunderbolts are a team of questionable heroes in the MCU consisting of Yelena Belova, or the Black Widow, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, John Walker, the U.S. Agent, Ava Starr, Ghost, Robert Bob Reynolds, the Sentry, and Alexei Shostakov, also known as the Red Guardian. They're brought up together by Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, not Fontaine, de Fontaine, to initially kill each other and tie up her loose ends, but eventually they decide to become a team and try to stop the Sentry/Void. And this, of course, will just make her look good. So, the original Thunderbolts team debuted in Incredible Hulk 449 back in 1997. Man, what the hell was I doing in 1997? I was a junior in high school. No, I wasn't even in high school. I started in high school in 98. So, man, I wasn't even in high school yet.
I was 11.
That was a minute ago. I was just about to start high school. But that team had Citizen V, Barrett Zemo, this guy called Mach 1, Meteorite Songbird, who... So this character, and that's kind of I didn't know till I did my whole notes here that Mel from the movie, has some ties to the Songbird thing.
Now, did they confirm that that's who that was?
I mean, everybody on the internet did, so I trust them.
Okay.
Atlas and Techno, from what I remember reading in like the comics and Wizard magazine, they were really just a bunch of villains trying to get one over on the Avengers. This was all a joke that like Baron Zemo and somebody had, and then they decided to actually do it. And they debuted as like the new Avengers type people, the Thunderbolts, and it wasn't revealed till like later on that they were all like supervillains from like the Wrecking Crew and places. And they're like, "What? You're bad guys." So in the MCU, we get different characters being used, and we find that Sam Wilson, Captain America, is going to sue the team for the rights of being called the Avengers. So that's where we're at there. But I'll throw it over to you so that you can tell us who made this movie that we're going to talk about today.
Well, the Thunderbolts was directed by Jake Schreier, who also did Robot and Frank.
Good movie.
Multiple episodes of Beef. The Star Wars Skeleton Crew episode.
He did a Star Wars episode. Now, a full warning here. Josh is going off of my notes. So it's all out of my head.
Yeah, and a lot of music vids. It was written by Joanna Kalo and Eric Pearson. Producer, you're not going to believe this, Kevin Feige.
What?
Executive producer was Luis D'Esposito. They said his D in this.
They did.
Brian Chapek, Jason Tamez, and Scarlett Johansson.
I mean, she's got to have a lot of irons in her fire too, right?
That one does surprise me a little, and then music was composed by Sun Lux, Ryan Lott, Ian Chang, and Rafik Bhatia.
Yeah.
Looks like those people make up.
Never heard of them, but I thought the music was okay in the movie.
I liked it.
It wasn't too much. It wasn't too less. I don't know if I could give you the theme for it right now, but it was there. They had sound.
So if we go ahead and take a minute, let's look at some of the characters. The movie really focuses, I feel like Yelena Belova was meant to be the main character, like the central figure of the movie. We open on her, and I think we closed on her. Real name, Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh. Her powers, she is, she's a Scarlet Witch. Oh yeah, Scarlet Witch. She's a Black Widow, raised in the Red Room. Peak physical condition, expert in martial arts, highly skilled with various weapons and espionage tactics. She, like I said, a trained spy and assassin. And currently, she is working for Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. And if you don't already know, Natasha, Black Widow, it's her stepsister, adopted sister.
She just says sister. So
they were raised together. So yeah,
Red Guardian was raised him as the daddy.
Yeah.
AI did this all for me, by the way.
That's fine.
Did most of it.
I personally absolutely love the beginning. This movie opens up on her doing a little monologue about just being empty, being alone, especially ever since Natasha in the end of Endgame.
Or maybe she's just bored.
And then she steps off of a building and parachutes, and really cool stuff happens. But here's a little fun tidbit for you. She actually stepped off that building. Not with a parachute, but I was watching behind the scenes videos, and they had her hooked up to essentially like a crane rig in a harness. And she actually stepped off of the top of a building. Now, maybe it wasn't this 150 whatever story building. I don't know how big buildings are, but
she
still stepped off of a very tall building for the shot. And I don't care if there's a harness or not. That takes balls.
No, she's a tough lady.
And
you wouldn't do it?
No, I don't. Well,
you're getting paid how much money now? I mean,
I really want to skydive someday, but I don't know. And then another thing, apparently she made a lot of comments or demands, I guess you could say, to Kevin Feige that she would not, help advertise this movie. Like, she wouldn't take it seriously if they didn't keep this beginning in. This whole beginning monologue about depression and about, stuff like that. And I loved it. I thought it was a really interesting way to open the movie, where it catches your attention because, instant action, she jumped off a building and stuff happens, but at the same time, it engages your mind in, wow, could be a darker movie. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, we've seen Deadpool open up talking, though it's more comedy. Mm-hmm. I agree. One of my talking points was that she seems the central figure here. I mean, a good bit of the cast here gets screen time, but you can definitely tell by the end when you start adding it up, who got more, and she plays the biggest part in the entire movie.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I think she has, I won't say she has the biggest acting chops because they've all been in some really good stuff. Even Lewis Pullman's been in a couple things. He got Emmy nominated at some point, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for some movie I didn't watch, but she carries it well. I mean, the first time I ever saw her was Midsummer, that crazy fucking horror movie.
Okay.
In Denmark or the Netherlands or something, and it was just weird. I was like, who's this girl? And then everything I saw her after that kept getting better and better and better. So it's good that she carried a good bit here. If anything, I think Ghost is the one that gets probably the least amount of time, not including Taskmaster. But you also have in this movie too, we have Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. He makes an appearance. His powers, we all know, he's got that super soldier in him. He's got the metal arm. It's upgraded from Wakanda. Steve Rogers' childhood friend. Dealt with Hydra and whatnot. So he's in here, and I think there's at one point where I'm like, and I wrote this down. I was like, he seems to be the most competent one of everybody.
Oh,
like,
for
even though you see Yelena like do moves in a hallway, they do that top fight scene, and she does moves that like Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow would have done, like when she jumps up and does the head scissors, and like I was like, man, they did a couple callbacks to some other characters. I don't know if you caught some of it, but
there was no superhero landing that she made fun of throughout all of Black Widow. I really wanted one.
Yeah, there was none of those. But he comes in there, and he's a senator. A junior freshman senator who doesn't even make it through half of a term or something. But you see him kind of struggling to be the normal guy that people want to see him as a public figure. And yet he's trying to put away his baggage of being the Winter Soldier. And he's, walking that line, like, who really am I? And it's questioned a lot in this movie because he probably takes maybe the second or third biggest chunk of character time. So he's in there, and of course, then we have
John Walker,
Dime Store Captain America.
Captain America, yep.
I like John Walker. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I know the dude's got an attitude problem, but where his head's at, sometimes I can relate to John Walker. I can, and I like the character.
He's more of a realist. Like, he's not the over-optimistic like Steve Rogers was, but then he's also not a full-blown pessimist.
Well, just when they're like, yo, you killed an innocent man on live TV, he's like, well, define innocent. That guy was not an innocent dude.
Like, he was definitely more of a realist. Like, he doesn't see things as black and white.
Right.
But yeah, John Walker, another enhanced super individual. He got a super soldier serum. If you didn't know who he was or didn't know any of this, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's only like 8 episodes long.
I liked it.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
My favorite, no.
Played the part, but,
Yeah, like my favorite, no. But it was still a decently done show. Basically, he gets the shield after Captain America. Steve Rogers vacates. Our good buddy.
He was the official Captain America.
Sam Wilson gives the shield back to the Pentagon or Smithsonian or somebody, and they decide to bring back Captain America. So they bring back John Walker, who failed miserably and ends up becoming U.S. agent when Valentina. I'm not going to keep saying her whole name.
Just call her Val.
When Val shows up. And we find out very quickly he's got some home problems.
He's in denial.
The happy family man that he makes himself out to be.
This movie's got a lot of trauma and denial.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll definitely get to that. But moving on, we do have a callback to a character that I didn't think we would see again.
Oh, I didn't know we were done with John Walker. Sorry.
Oh, wait, what do you want to say about him?
I'll bring it up later on. So I'll just go from where if you're referring to Ava Star Ghost, then yes, she does make an appearance in this movie. She is part of the movie. Now I didn't know much about her going into this because I watched that's the second Ant-Man movie she's in, and one of these days I'll go through and watch them all again, but I didn't remember really liking that one much. So it was kind of pushed out of my mind.
Okay.
I knew she existed, but I couldn't tell you anything about her.
Definitely was not as good as the first one in my opinion, but yeah.
But she has quantum phasing, which I guess you can't do it if there's bad sound, bad echoes or something.
Somebody turn the speaker up.
Yeah. If there's some white noise, she's probably going to have some issues. But I guess she can only do it for like a minute because she has like chronic pain and there's limitations. But she's kind of not a teleporter, but she's a quantum phaser. She's the daughter of a scientist who was caught out in a quantum experiment, gave her those abilities. She was initially used as a weapon for S.H.I.E.L.D. and then, she's always driven. She has this like suit on. She's always trying to make herself healthier and be able to survive. And she gets stuck underneath the thumb of Valentina at some point. There was so much time in between Ant-Man 2 and this movie. And I've never seen Ghost. I don't think in anything else. I don't think she ever popped up. I just bought it. I was like, okay, well, she's been out for a minute, and I guess she got wrangled up. Everybody else did, so why not?
Yeah, they don't explain that.
No, that's okay. I'm fine with it.
There's definitely a few little plot holes that could be just filled in with, probablys.
Yeah. But the next character we'll talk about actually...
The next character is, without a doubt...
I knew more about.
He is the linchpin that holds the entire movie together.
I mean, maybe.
Well, maybe.
I mean, he likes to think so.
Alexei Shostakov, or the Red Guardian. Oh my word, I absolutely love Russian Captain America.
He's the greatest. Which super soldier? What did you get? Hydra, that's fancy.
Regular. Oh my word, I love him. He doesn't look like much, and you never really get to see him do much.
6'3", do you know that?
I did not, actually.
6'3". I was just curious, like, because I thought about, like, maybe because of my beard and everything, maybe I could do a thing for Halloween or something. I was like, I'm not 6'3", but...
And you need to gain a lot of weight to pull him off.
I'll just add protein to my diet. That's fine.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, he's got
protein.
Enhanced strength, speed, and I guess you could say durability. He can take a beating.
He does take a beating.
Thanks to the, as he put it, the, what do you say, the Soviet Russia super
the reconstruction, we'll just call it the Kmart version, the Kmart serum.
So even though it's not the Captain America serum, and it's not even the Hydra Winter Soldier serum, it still gave him the ability to be a pretty awesome fighter when it comes down to it. When
you see him in the Black Widow movie, was that called Black Widow? Was that just what it was called?
Yeah, it was just called Black Widow.
Yeah, like you see him a lot in there, and he's a tough dude.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I got to see him to his full extent like I did in this movie. Towards the end of this movie, you really finally got to see him be him. And I don't know why. I just love his character. He's so great. So yeah, like you said, Russian super soldier from the Cold War era. And he had this thing about he loved being in the spotlight.
The spotlight, yes.
He loved it, and that was what I feel his little speech to Yelena saying, like, that's when he felt the most happy, the most whole, was when he was doing good and
most
people
fulfilled.
Were cheering him on.
So filled.
I mean, it's one of those movies that, like, there are some insanely deep parts, but for like a split second, and then they move on to something else. Like
the writing in this,
it's fantastic.
It almost felt like a James Gunn movie with the dialogue.
Yeah.
So this guy, these two writers, the director, I mean, I cannot say enough. If there's one thing it shines completely in this movie to me, it is the writing. It's the dialogue.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I've got to say it. David Harbour is perfect in this. Like he blows this role away. He does so well. He's that uncle that tells you about the fish he caught and his arms keep getting wider as he just exaggerates the shit out of the story. But then when it comes down to it, he doesn't eat his words. He puts up. Like,
yeah.
Now, it's great character, but he got his ass kicked.
Would that be by Robert Reynolds?
Bob.
AKA Bob, yeah, the Sentry. So I looked up online because he does some things in this movie. And I was talking to Emily on the car ride home. I was like, I don't remember him doing all these things. But he sure enough has like a crap ton of powers that I didn't even know about.
There's still a bunch that we didn't even see.
Yeah. So Robert Reynolds, who gets turned into the Sentry, he's a vast and potentially limitless superhuman creation by Valentina's scientists. His powers include immense strength, speed, durability, flight, energy projection, telekinesis, and enhanced senses. He also has a dark and destructive alter ego known as the Void, and that turns people into shadow burns, locking them into horrible memories that are on a replay loop. So, like, if you were in a car accident because you were drunk driving and you killed a little girl, you're probably going to get stuck in that same accident over and over, and there's nothing you can do about it. If you try to mess with it, the memory will mess back with you.
Yeah.
It's like being stuck in a hell loop.
And then it starts over again.
There's a scene.
It's like it takes your most horrible memories or experiences, and that's what it picks to just play on loop.
Yeah. When they all show up to help and they ask, somebody said, well, how'd you all get here? What did you have to deal with? Bucky's like, oh, no, man, I had a great past. Like, don't even worry about it, man. Like,
piece of cake.
Yeah. Like, I was curious. I wish I would have seen, I know this is a very short, concise, to the point movie, but I would have liked to have seen
each one of them
just have one little, just snippets. Remember in the second Avengers movie where Scarlet Witch messes with their mind and you just quick see snippets? That would have been nice. Just some flashes or something, but we don't get it.
Even like if the actors come out on a panel one day and be like, hey, what did you see? Well,
that'd be nice to know.
They could have easily filmed it and just not put it in too.
True. So basically, Bob is a guy who's a meth addict, and he says it several times, who looking to improve his life. He wants to be mentally healthier. He wants to be somebody. He wants to be important. And so they kind of give him this opportunity and they mess with him. They change it from the comics, but all the test subjects die, and they think he's died too. But he doesn't die. I think it's because, he already had shit going on that they didn't know about. I don't think he filled out all the boxes on the intake form.
Maybe the meth is what saved him.
Yeah, that meth chicken.
Please understand.
I don't know about chicken jockey, but I like meth chicken.
Dude. Oh, yeah. I'd like to see them go head to head.
Like that, he's like, oh my God, so terrifying.
He's like, if you hit me in the face one more time, I was on meth. The Tree of Geek does not condone.
No, don't be doing meth. Don't be making meth. Don't be selling meth. Blue sky. I don't care. Don't be doing it, man. No, it's not good. But who brings them all together, Josh? Who's really pulling the strings here?
That would be Miss Fontaine.
And what's her deal?
Just kidding. It's De Fontaine.
Yeah, he's what did she say about the Department of Defense guy? He's not
the Department of Fence.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. If you're not sure who that is, I believe the first time we get to see her is actually at the end of, was it Black Widow?
Yes, in the graveyard.
Yeah, we see her walk up to Yelena in the graveyard at Natasha's grave. And then we don't see her again until, I believe, the very end or maybe even after credits of Falcon and the Winter Soldier when she's recruiting U.S. Agent.
Yeah.
So up until now, she really hasn't had a big part. She's the chick from Seinfeld, apparently. I've never watched it.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was also on Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
Yeah. Veep.
She has...
all the seasons of Veep? You never heard of her before?
No.
Really? Oh, my goodness.
All I know is that she has absolutely no inherent superpowers. She is a very skilled espionage agent, not really a spy as far as, like...
Well, she takes out a military dude like pretty quick just to get his radio.
She's a hand-to-hand combat type spy. Like, she's not a Black Widow level spy.
No, she was trained here, not there.
Any one of the main characters could have taken her out in a heartbeat if they actually tried. They didn't. And
they wanted to.
But she's also insanely smart. Or at the very least,
manipulation.
Yes.
Oh, man.
She is a master manipulator, a master strategist, and she is the one who orchestrated literally everything, including, what was it called? Ox, I think?
Yeah, some Ox group.
Corporation.
Yeah, I don't know if that's from the comics or if that's from Roxxon. I don't even know what the hell's going on there.
They kept saying Ox, and for some reason, I kept thinking they were saying Oz Corp, and I'm like, come on, please. But they didn't. It was Ox. OXE, I believe it was.
Yeah, whatever
but she decided to, basically take credit for everything, which we can get to when we discuss the movie more in depth. But she is a piece of crap.
Yeah. Like, she has her own demons, but she's not. She
is the dark Nick Fury. Like, she's the more manipulative, less here to help you, but she definitely, they do share the I have my own agenda mentality.
Yeah. She's not as ruthless as some of the other villains, though, because she doesn't take care of Mel, her assistant.
Yeah.
Because Mel has a crisis of
loyalty.
Loyalty crisis. And I was like, she's just going to murder her? But she doesn't.
Yes, I thought she was going to. And she's like, I think you need to think about what you've done.
Yeah. Well, I think she was afraid she wasn't going to get a good cup of coffee.
I mean, she does get a good cup of coffee no matter where they are.
Yeah. I mean, at least she's got that going for her.
So who is Mel?
Well, Mel, I like how my AI is like, in the context provided. Mel is portrayed by Geraldine Viswanathan.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty close there. Her real name's not fully given, but it's probably Melissa Gold, who in the comics, remember I said Songbird was played by Melissa Gold. Now,
this is speculation as of right now, right?
Correct. Yeah, I haven't seen anything. It's 100% confirmed. But why would they name her that?
Right.
Unless it's just a nod. Sometimes they do nods and it's just throwaway stuff. But she's definitely going to come back. I mean, they said they were, so why wouldn't they bring her back?
True.
She's basically just her assistant, and she's super smart as far as like networking and getting coffee, and you don't get to, you see her in only snippets, but you can really tell that, in my eyes, that if she would have had a different assistant, I'm not saying that some of the jobs couldn't have gotten done, but she's very good at delivering what Fontaine wants.
Mel is to Fontaine as Happy was to Stark. Simple as that.
Yeah, she's Alfred.
She will not even just, butler or, assistant. No, she is that I can get it done assistant. She just, everything that's asked of her gets done. Simple as that.
Yeah. And she ends up meeting Bucky Barnes. He tries to sweet talk her. She hands her the business card and she goes, "Oh, what is that, your trash?"
Yeah, that was good. This movie...
that type of writing right there. I was like, ooh, what are you mean?
This movie was lined. Well, I mean, it had great action, but it was just some of the best quick-witted humor I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Well, she eventually does have a conscience issue, wavers back and forth, which helps get our team where they need to be to do things. I think her and Bucky should hook up, but that's me. I'm going to ship that right now.
You can track my phone, right?
Yeah, I don't really do that anymore. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Senator.
And she hangs up.
And then for some of the lower, we only got like a character or two left here. Who do we got next?
Next, we have Antonia Dreykov, who she was Taskmaster in the Black Widow movie.
Black Widow movie?
Black Widow movie. Did I say window?
I think you said window. It sounded like window.
Her powers, she is photographic reflexes where like she sees it, she does it. She's a master imitator. She can instantly mimic fighting styles and movements of anyone that she's against or just observing. And she also possesses like incredible strength as well as the training of the Red Room. I'm assuming she went through some of the same training that everybody else did.
I think she did.
Yeah. She, if you remember from Black Widow, she is the daughter of General Dreykov, who was the head of the Red Room. She was severely injured and believed dead by Natasha Romanoff. However, she was saved and turned into Taskmaster, but she was also mutilated.
Yeah. And what kind of part does she play in this movie?
She plays one of the most important parts because she dies.
Yeah, she dies off pretty early.
Spoiler, she is what we joked about, the sacrificial lamb that someone has to die. And it wasn't even like glorious. It was just bam, done.
The first time I watched it, I couldn't remember who killed her, and then on my rewatch today, I was like, "Oh, you're the one that did it," because it happened so fast. Like, who even did that?
Yep, Ghost just like pops up in front of her, bam,
right in the head.
Yep, and she's like, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah. So that's all she's in there for. Some other characters. You have the Red Hulk, who's not seen, but he was rumored to be part of the Thunderbolts, and even if you watch the end of Captain America, you're like, oh, maybe they got him out for this. It doesn't happen. They just talk about him in passing, about what he did, rampaging. And also Baron Zemo, who in the comics is the one that orchestrates all this. They were very, very early. They were like, let's get Baron Zemo from prison, and he's going to orchestrate this whole thing. He's going to pull all the strings. And they eventually said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to go with Fontaine instead. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. Daniel Bruhl as that character was absolutely amazing, and I'd love to see him come back.
Maybe they just thought it would be too unrealistic of him in the raft, but still pulling strings.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess. I mean, this works.
I mean, I don't know.
It's a different universe, so I mean, that's fine. He doesn't have to be part of it. And finally, Kang at some point was talked about having a credit scene, and well, that just didn't happen.
No, that didn't happen.
No, but they were all rumored to be here at some point in some faculty, and they were all shot down and didn't actually show up. So there was one other person, I didn't write his name down. He's the guy that leads the committee to try to impeach Fontaine.
The guy from Suits.
I was going to say the guy from Jack Ryan. He's like a CIA guy in there. In this movie, he keeps talking about juicy bits and everything's delicious.
Yeah, I did notice that.
And I'm like, oh, nothing comes of it, but
And, he's a lawyer in Suits as well.
Juicy packets. Read your packets.
Yep, read your packets. And then I love the very first time we see Bucky reading a packet, he's like dropping tacos all over him.
Chili dogs.
Was it chili dogs?
I read it was chili dogs.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, over his juicy packet.
So let me ask you one question, though.
Yeah, sure.
Do you feel that this movie was its own movie, or do you feel that this movie was kind of like a sequel, if not wrap up to Black Widow? Because like you said, Yelena was a huge part of it, and a very, very big part of this movie was dealing with grief in general, but a lot of it was centralized on her emptiness, her need to feel fulfilled again.
To answer your question, I think it's more of a standalone movie. Yes, Yelena is the major part of it. Now, see, I'd seen Yelena since Black Widow and Hawkeye.
Yes.
For that episode or two she was in there. So for me, that already kind of washed away Black Widow for me. Not that I didn't like that movie, but I was like, oh, okay, well, she's already moved on. That was an issue before. This is issue 2. Now we're at issue 3, whatever. You know, yeah, she talked about it, and I know Red Guardian's in here, but I still feel like it was a Thunderbolts movie. This wasn't Avengers 17. This wasn't, you know.
So you feel this was definitely the start of this story, not like the wrap-up of someone else's story.
Right. I think this has I don't know if it'll get like a couple of them, but it at least will get a second, maybe an ending of this that'll lead to other things. And there's a section here later on that we can talk about the future of this. But to answer your question, I thought it was more of a Thunderbolts movie than a Black Widow movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, if it would have just had, I mean, they did show a lot of the Red Room stuff. If they would have had even more, maybe it would have leaned. Like if Taskmaster would have lived and Ghost would have died, then I'm like, I don't know. Maybe this is a Black Widow movie, and maybe that's why they did that. Maybe they didn't want 3 Black Widow people in this. That's why.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I mean, Red Guardian, he's not even in like the whole entire movie. Like he's there, but he's not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he makes his appearances. He's not really even in it until about halfway through. That's when he becomes more prevalent.
What did you feel about this movie showing, or just really not showing, just talking about the Avengers aren't here? You don't see Hawkeye. You don't see Scarlet Witch. You don't see Doctor Strange. They talk about Red Hulk. They talk about Sam Wilson. You don't see him. They do not show you any of these. No Iron Man. They show you some Chitauri shit, but like you don't see. And I did this, just tossing in before you even answer, some realtor, some fan person asked them, like, how much do you think the Avengers Tower would have cost her? Because she says it costs a pretty penny to buy. And she says that she's estimating about $1.1 billion is probably what it cost.
I mean, downtown New York.
Yeah, she's like, the insurance would be really hard because they don't occupy the entire building. And
that we can see.
Yeah, so like all the people that would be renting offices inside would be really hard to get people to rent places because it's constantly under attack and being blown up. So yeah, but how do you feel about it being more of a small? This isn't the, oh my God, the world's ending and we need to save the galaxy. This is more of a smaller. This is going on. More of a street level type deal.
I think it felt more real. I mean, it wasn't a major threat. I really hope this person comes to save us. They've said so many times in this movie, the Avengers aren't coming. Captain America is not coming. Like nobody is coming to help you.
No.
And I just.
The reason I asked is Emily had said in the ride home, I asked her, you know, did she like it and how did she feel about this one compared to Captain America, Brave New World? And she said, well, that one kind of had better fights because it was bigger and things were blowing up. And I said, yeah. And I started thinking, but I was like, well, this was more of a small, not TV sized, but not like this is Endgame. This isn't Civil War. Like
this was meant to be.
It's more contained.
The underdogs, or at the very least, the not thought of characters.
And what do you think about because you saw it before, months and months before this movie came out, like Suicide Squad. This is just going to be Marvel Suicide Squad. How do you feel after you've seen it, the comparisons to that? Do you think this is Marvel Suicide Squad? Because I don't.
These are completely different movies. 110%.
I think they're different characters. These people aren't looking, they don't have death wishes. None of these people, they want to be redeemed. They want to move on. Like the people in Suicide Squad, they just didn't give a shit. Some of them, they just want to
they were trying to earn their freedom. They wanted out of jail or whatever. Most of these people, they were just simply lost, basically lost souls who didn't know what to do with their lives. Every one of them even said down in the bunker, no one's going to miss them except for Walker.
Yeah, well, go Bears! Back to back champions.
Yeah. But that was the whole point of this movie, was that. Everybody feels alone at some point, but that doesn't mean you've got to just go to a bunker and give up.
Did you watch any of Daredevil yet?
No, I about started the first one and then I got distracted the other day.
The way Daredevil is set up, when you got Punisher and Daredevil and Kingpin, And it sucks that we're not getting Kingpin and Daredevil.
We said this.
Well, I know about the Kingpin, but like Charlie Cox was asked about it, I think yesterday or something. And he's like, well, I found out just like all you did. I didn't see my name on the chair. I guess I'm not in it. You know what I mean? Like that's how I learned. But this is like when you have a small street level show like that has so much heart and so much passion, so much emotion to it. And a movie like this, I don't need crane. I mean, yeah, we get the set pieces of stuff falling down, but I don't need like this. The Earth is going to get cracked in half, or this alien's going to come swallow the planet. Like those stories are fine, but I think it's good that Marvel has decided to downsize in a way, and not in a bad way. It's a good way to like let's focus more on who these characters are, other than just blowing shit up. Do you feel that same way, or you think it's lacking that we don't get so many explosions? Because we saw Captain America and turned out it was more about the Red Hulk smashing shit than it was about.
I personally gave Captain America I think a 6 out of 10 at best.
I think I gave it a 7.
Yeah. And it was mostly, it wasn't even not my Cap. Yeah, we hashtagged that on that episode when we talked about it a while back. But I don't know, something about it just didn't feel like a Marvel movie to me anymore. Like I don't really know how to explain it. It felt almost like they were trying to raise the bar too far.
It felt formulaic to me. I guess I don't think I said that in the episode, but it felt formulaic.
This felt so much more natural and, like I just said, dark and gritty. Like this felt more real, that I can't relate to a dude with wings flying around fighting a big red guy.
But can you relate to somebody? But
I can relate
in an elevator and go, what, do we just punch and shoot? Like nobody has any other powers? This is just what we are? We're just fucking regular people with a gun.
That, as well as, like when he asked you, like, well, how do you deal with the darkness? He's like, you just push it down. Which
Ricky Bobby, you just push it right down deep, never bring it up again.
But it stopped focusing on characters raising themselves to a new level, and it started focusing on people who have actual issues, coping and learning to deal with those issues head on rather than pushing them down. This had a completely different feel to it, and I really think that that's why, for me at least, it works.
Yeah, the second time I watched it, I loved it just as much as the first time.
I believe.
And I kept asking myself, well, man, where's the big giant set pieces? Where was the big, except for the end, where, even with Sentry in the Void, like where was, if you watch how this ends, you're like, oh, well, that's it? I'm not going to give that part away.
But it was satisfying.
Yeah, it was. But I'm thinking to myself, but Galactus didn't show up. There's no Celestial in the middle of the water. Thanos didn't get destroyed. Like,
there's no big pending crisis to deal with in the next movie.
No.
Right.
Except for lawsuits, I guess.
Well, yeah. That's why I think this movie worked perfectly. I've seen a lot of people online trying to say it's better than Endgame. It's the best thing they've ever put out. And of course, I've seen people saying like, "Oh, it's just propaganda for feminism and all this other stuff."
Chief, what the? Come on!
And all the comments on those videos. Because I didn't want to watch them. I just wanted to see what people were saying. Like every single one was basically saying, "Look, you're negative about everything. Please just stop." And it's like, that's great.
Thank you. I'm glad those people said that.
Yes, absolutely.
Not every movie has to have 3 different agendas. Like,
no, and this
just a movie to be a movie.
And this is one of those movies that I feel like damn near anybody watching it will find a way to relate to one of the main characters in some way.
Well, I get frustrated so easily. Like, I get so mad at simple mistakes. I've pulled the rug out from underneath my own feet so many times in my own life. And to see somebody like Winter Soldier, to see somebody like Walker, go through those issues and have to just keep putting, like, yeah, they suck, but I have to still wake up every day. I got to put my boots on. I got to go to work. Like, you got to keep pushing through. That made me feel a lot better than, I don't even watch, like, I don't want to talk shit about like the Hulk or Iron Man, but they didn't inspire me to be better people. When I'm watching this, I'm like, dude, I think that's why I like John Walker, because
let's take a look at Walker real quick. We get a flashback at one point of his happy home life, of him sitting in the nursery with his baby screaming in the crib, his wife yelling, "Are you watching her?" or him? I forget. I think the baby was a girl. Oh, was it?
Is it? Oh, I don't know.
And he's just like, yeah, but he's actually nose face into his phone.
But he was like a foot away.
Well, yeah.
Like, he wouldn't even been, like, 10 inches away from this kid.
But the thing was, he was obsessing over his own downfall. Like, they showed his phone.
The article's like the downfall of John Walker, isn't that what it said?
Yeah, and he was...
very close to that.
In a, like, hardcore, self-loathing, you could almost call it self-destructive point where he just didn't even care about his own family. And then they make a comment later that I guess his wife and kid left and, like...
Yeah, because he lies about it. He goes, well, I have a wife and kid to get back to. And you're like, oh, okay. And then you see the flashback and you're like, oh, you don't.
But then, okay, then you turn around and you look at Yelena. Okay, sure, we don't all have super secret spies as our siblings, but she's dealing with the loss of her sister.
Yeah. Like when her mother was, she didn't really mention her mother, but her mother got taken out in that movie too, didn't she?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe?
Her surrogate mother, whoever it was, married to David Harbour. Like, she shows back up for a minute, didn't she?
I'm not sure. Yeah, but I'm not sure if she died in Black Widow or not.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong there.
All I know is every one of these characters are dealing with some type of trauma that we can relate to in some way.
Except for Ghost, because they don't... Isolation. She gets so little isolation.
Hers, in my mind, was isolation, because she said how she spent her whole life in a science tank, basically just trying to survive. So that means that she never formed any type of real social skills or anything like that.
Well, you don't want to start the crybaby game or whatever. Child assassin over here.
Yeah, no.
I will say, though, Suicide Squad to this, the cartoon over, the aquatic chick to Ghost, I can see a big analog parallel there.
Oh,
because the aquatic chick was stuck in the suit and didn't really have a lot of friends and whatnot. But I feel like Ghost, if anybody didn't get a little more screen time, she should have got at least 5 more minutes somewhere.
Yeah, but, I could agree with that.
And even Alexei, he used to be the Russian Captain America.
Yeah, like they even showed video clips of him with like the
he's watching on the old tube TV, like on VHS.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
he just wants glory.
And then Yelena comes to the door, knocks. He thinks it's the Uber Eats and stuff. But then when she announces herself, did you notice he used hand soap to brush his teeth with his finger?
I sure noticed. Yeah, it was that weird peach colored fucking.
He puts on his finger, just starts brushing his teeth. I'm like, that has got to be an improv moment. Like that was great.
So fulfilled. So filled. And she's like, well, I work for Valentine. He's like, I would burn the world down to work for her. You just said you were fulfilled. I was lying. I hate my life.
Oh, and that's just like, most fathers, they're going to try and put on a good face for their kids. Look successful, look happy.
I mean, he's got a limo business.
Semi-bulletproof, or what do you say, ish?
Bulletproof-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about that moment where Walker, they have to team up because they're all going to they're all going to burnt to a crisp here.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to stop it. And Yelena's going to do some fancy shit. And he's like, on your left, and then just smashes it. Wasn't that a cool callback? Like, he wouldn't have even known that Sam Wilson even said that shit.
That was a
Captain America, they said it to each other, whatever.
Yeah, that was a great, just 3-word callback that some people might not even notice. It's so quick.
But
my question is, why was the separate power source, as they kept calling it, for this Sonic thing, why was it in the room with them?
Because they didn't think that any of these people were smart enough to figure that out.
So they
almost didn't. Fontaine figured they would just murder each other. And then by the time they figured out what was going on, it'd be too late. And it almost was too late. She was almost right.
Yeah, okay.
I think she underestimated that even though these are... At this point, trained killers and destroyers, they still, like, John Walker still he still inside still wants to be a good person. He just can't relate it well. Yelena is very motherly. Ghost, she doesn't really have a total, I can't speak much for her, but she doesn't seem like a horrible person. She never really says or does anything that's super bad. So I think she just thought and she calls them all idiots. They're all dumb idiots. They're all losers.
Yeah.
She underestimates them. Like you said, they're the underdogs, even to her.
Well,
she proved them wrong.
I feel like her flaw was that she waited so long. They were in there fighting for 20 minutes of the movie before Mel was like, oh, hey, your guest arrived. If it had been like, hey, here's your directive. When you see them all together, hit the button.
Well, she didn't even want to hit the button. She had an issue.
Well, that's true. Yeah. And I was thinking about that too. Okay, so when you watch the movie, you find out quickly that Bob is part of the Sentry project that's about to be incinerated with all of these vigilante bad peoples. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't the incineration have just woken him up anyways?
They thought he was dead. I learned that in the second watch. She's like, who? Because she didn't know who he was at first, and to find out.
Yeah, I caught that.
And she's like, well.
So they didn't realize.
She asked why he was there, and she's like, because we thought he was dead. He was one of the test subjects.
Okay.
He was there because he was going to be incinerated.
See, okay,
they didn't know he was alive. They thought he was fucking dead.
See, I thought he was in a unit. Because the meter showed it like it was keeping him alive. I thought they were just like,
I know it's
we need
kind
to
of a misdirection there.
This body or this test subject, they're sleeping. It'll be fine.
They should have filmed that differently. Had him in a fucking bag or something in a box.
Even so,
tin box. I don't know. Tinder box.
Would have woken him up. Technically,
it would have, but they didn't know that.
Right.
They actually thought he was just a corpse. But I mean, it's one of those unfortunate plot holes they had in there that isn't. You just kind of have to go, well, movie magic, different universe, whatever.
Well, no, I mean, like, they didn't know he was there. I get that. But say they failed and they all got incinerated. He was invincible. We find that out quickly.
Yeah, he would have woke up, and then nobody would have been there to stop him.
And it probably would have immediately switched him into
Void.
It could be a whole different movie.
Yeah, you had to wait for like Hulk and everybody come from outer space and show back
there
up.
You go.
Like,
you want a film theory? That's a film theory.
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah, we've talked about they're all punch and shooters. I mean, at this point, Bobby doesn't know what powers he has. They're stuck in the elevator. So, I mean, he's smart enough to figure out a plan to get out of there, sort of.
I did like that. They get like halfway up this, what'd they say, mile elevator?
Yeah. How tall can John jump?
I wondered that. Because
he was up there for a good 1, 2,
He did like a Spawn Hulk from that really bad Incredible Hulk movie. Where he just like jumped a mile into the sky. Well, obviously not a mile.
I like that Ang Lee movie.
I didn't like that.
I like that movie.
Maybe it was the CGI. I don't know. But no, he jumped up there for a good ways and then before he came crashing down. And I did love hey, I think you should try that again.
I'm disappointed that he wasn't able to just like jump off the walls back and forth.
He probably could have.
I think Steve Rogers would have. He would just like been leaping.
Run in a circle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he could have just been like doing some parkour off the fucking walls back and forth.
Yeah.
Until he got up there. I mean, I guess it was really, really deep. But
like they showed, like there was no other floors. It was, and they even said a mile underground to this facility. So it was literally an elevator to one other place.
Yeah. To hell.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's talk about the soccer team because, you know, we know the movie's called Thunderbolts. Now they're changing it to the new Avengers or just the Avengers. I don't know what I haven't seen the posters. I just know they're changing names, but we find out why, at least in this version of reality, why they're called the Thunderbolts. We find out that Yelena was on the soccer team. We don't know who sponsored that soccer team. We couldn't get clarity. There's some disagreements on that.
Shane didn't have the money.
This tired guy, a game with Shane. No, this Shane. But we find out that she was on a soccer team and they sucked and they lost and some kid shit her pants on the field.
It was really something.
But they were the West Chesapeake Bay Thunderbolts. And so Red Guardian just runs with this. He's like, we're going to be the Thunderbolts, you know. Because it was funny because John's just sitting in the back of the limo and he goes, yeah, go Thunderbolts. And he's like, how do you know this? Yeah. And then he retells the whole story. God, he's comedy gold. The dude is just
Harbor.
Yeah. Oh my, it's so good. I did like how they kind of just threw that out there. And I like how Valentina didn't even know who the fuck he was. So he shows up at Avengers HQ.
He literally says, who are you?
What? I'm the Red Guardian. What? Like, just so surprised that this random person is here. Oh, man. You think that she would have been cued in on the limousine desert scene, but I guess not.
So what did you think of the big reveal of here is Bob as Sentry with dyed hair? His golden suit. I mean, what'd they call him? The Golden Guardian of Good?
Yeah, the Golden Guardian of Good. That's a mouthful.
With the power of 1,000 suns?
Yeah, so I will say real quick, though, that in the movie they say 1,000 suns. In the comics, it's 1,000,000 exploding suns.
Ah, dang.
Yeah. I'm not sure why they changed it. Maybe there's like, that seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. How do I feel about it? I think Paul Pullman has a good kid, and Lewis Pullman is a good actor. He's in shape. He was in that remake of the Stephen King movie with the vampires, Salem's Lot. He was good there. So to see him transition into a superhero. Now, I don't know if all you people out there know that it was supposed to be Stephen Yeun to do this before. We talked about that very briefly. I kept thinking about like them, like how could I imagine him? Because I wasn't really happy about that casting. I like Stephen Yeun, he's a great guy, but I was like, Sentry, he's the Superman. Like I wanted like a fucking Superman looking dude. So Emma and I were talking about this on the way back, and she doesn't like those Top Gun movies. I do. But there's another guy in there, Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
To me, when I think Sentry in my head and an actor that's out now, and it's nothing against Lewis, like he played Bob well. And he does play off I might not be quite right in the head. But if you got Glenn Powell looks like he can just fucking run through a wall sometimes. He just, imagine him in a fucking suit. He's already kind of a blonde. Like they had to dye this dude's hair, supposedly.
Yeah.
Bob is a brunette. He's not a blonde. I guess I need more Sentry because you didn't get a lot of Sentry. You got a quick minute or two of Sentry. You got a couple minutes of Void and Bob. A lot of Bob. Show me the next one, him as Sentry. When he's figured out how to keep the Void at bay.
Yeah.
Show me the guy that fought World War Hulk until they both passed out. Show me the guy that ripped Carnage in half in space. Who just didn't get... Show me the guy that took on the Death Celestial Seed guy.
Yeah.
This cosmic... Like, show me that guy. Until then, I'm not angry and I'm not, like, disapproving of Lewis being Sentry, but I need more.
All right.
How do you feel? What's your take on it?
I do agree that we got a lot more Bob than we did of anything else. I did kind of like the little god complex that he got after,
Yeah.
that's
what I was talking about. He's a little unhinged.
Full centried up and it was a very quick, and you could tell Valentina was like, oh shit. Like he figured it out already. The whole, like, why do I need to answer to you? I'm stronger than Thor.
He's like, I'm stronger than God. She's like, you keep throwing that God word out pretty. He goes, well, you said I was stronger than all the Avengers, and the Avengers had at least one God on it.
Right.
So I must be stronger than a God, right? Like, that's simple math, right?
But, they show, like, literally, that they were throwing their most intense fighting at him, and he's just standing there.
Yeah, Bucky takes off his jacket. He took off his leather jacket. And I'm like, oh, shit, he put down the leather jacket.
And then he punched him and nothing happened.
Really, really hard.
That arm was freshly clean from the dishwasher.
Yeah. I like how David Harbour's like, ding, 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 and like stabbing him like Walton Goggins in Predator, like trying to take him out like a Predator and nothing.
Instead, the knife is chipping as he goes. But no, I really did like this portrayal. Now, I know a lot of people wanted Anthony Starr, who plays Homelander.
No, I did not
really
want
wanted
that.
him to be Sentry.
No, he's already Homelander. I don't want him to be Sentry, too.
I think that was the big thing. Like, people were like, they'll have too hard of a time seeing him not as Homelander. And I don't know how well he could play off the Bob part. Because Bob is a timid... nobody.
Yeah, maybe that would have been the issue with Glenn Powell. Maybe he couldn't have pulled off Bob.
Maybe.
But I know in the comics, it's not...
I would, however, like to see Anthony Starr's Reverse Flash in DC.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
And then Grant Gustin as Flash.
Yeah, maybe Grant Gustin should have just played Sentry.
No.
No.
Stephen Amell. No, not even. I like the choice. I like Pullman. I thought it was a very good...
Well, maybe we can get Glenn Powell to be Hyperion.
No, there we go.
Yeah.
But, this is a very good, timid look. It was... But then he also pulled off the, hey, I'm actually ripped underneath this, these scrubs.
Yeah.
And I can pretend to be a psychopath. And he did a really good job at it.
I did really enjoy when they showed him as the Void... And he just had the lit up irises. Just
the visual of just a completely blacked out person, a silhouette with the golden iris.
Even when he's like punching him at one point, you barely see his face. You see like maybe a hint of lips.
Yeah.
But
Well, to be fair,
I like how they did that.
The theater that we went to, it felt like the movie was really dark. I feel like it could have been a little bit brighter, but I'm not complaining.
No, it was better than the other theater that I think other people wanted me to go see it in. I was like, no.
Probably, yeah.
No, thank you. At least I was able to hear the movie.
That is true.
Properly.
That is true.
Yeah.
And then we get the new Avengers.
Yeah. You get where they're going to, I mean, there's some trickery. Fontaine, she's smart as shit.
I hate her.
She has him walk right into a trap.
A good trap.
A PR trap. You know, and I guess when Bob is clapping, they shot two different ways because they were afraid some extras were going to give away what was going to go on. So they shot different ways that was going to go, calling them different names, calling them Thunderbolts, Avengers, and some other things. But I like how Bob's clapping because he doesn't. And according to Lewis Pullman, Bob's thinking in that moment, they're not clapping for him; they're clapping for these guys.
Yep.
He still at that moment does not feel important at all. Well, he doesn't even remember what the fuck happened.
Right. He has no idea what happened.
And that's some crazy shit. Like, you don't remember nothing, homie?
So that leads to the question of whenever he does get under control, does that mean, because he even said later in an end credits that he can't let Sentry out because, the other guy will come out.
Yeah.
So does he remember being Sentry?
I don't know enough of the comics to know. I didn't realize that he lost his memory. I know.
No, I didn't realize that. I want to try and find some origins and check it out.
I know how he came to be. I was reading Wizard Magazine when the character was created. The whole ploy.
Was it always a science experiment?
Let me just give you a real quick thing here.
I'm ready.
So the character doesn't exist. And then all of a sudden, this guy, I can't remember what his name was, maybe somebody like Joe Quesada or somebody like that wanted to, and I'm sorry that I can't remember his name off that, I probably should have written this down, but somebody got this idea, he talks to Marvel about it, and I want to debut this character, but I wanted him to have been around for a long time, but I need to somehow explain why nobody knows who he is. I'm going to want to do kind of the Marvel Superman thing.
Yeah.
They get this idea that Jack Kirby's widow is getting rid of some old boxes, and she finds in one of these boxes some old drawings and this work that he was doing on a character with Stan Lee. Now, Stan Lee has already been brought into this, he already knows. So they do this whole article in Wizard Magazine, hey, this lost character from Marvel from back in the 50s was found. I'm assuming it was the 50s or 40s or whenever he was supposedly came up with. And Stan Lee's yeah, I can vaguely remember working on this character with Jack. And, we had this idea, but we just couldn't come up with the thing. We didn't want to do a Superman ripoff, so we just never went through it. And it was this big ploy, and people like me were believing that this character was really a long-lost Marvel character. This was the long-lost Marvel Superman. But really, this character had this dude just came up with it. So it was all a publicity stunt to get this book to sell. And it's he knew who the Fantastic Four were, but somehow nobody remembered them. And I don't remember the earlier issues when I'd read them of why Reed Richards didn't remember who he was, but it had something to do with the Void. Somehow all the heroes, he had helped defeat Galactus, he had helped do all types of things, but somehow everybody's mind was wiped of this character. So nobody remembered him at all. Well, then he just comes back and who the hell are you? And then they have to go through the whole thing. But I don't remember, and I haven't read enough of the actual comics to know, does he actually have memory loss? I know that he struggles with the Void, and the Void's supposed to be some cosmically powerful thing. I don't remember him ever being an experiment. I don't know how he got his powers. Maybe I should have researched that, but I didn't because I'm a fraud and I'm a hack. But here we are.
Yep, here we are.
Yeah. So we'll have to look into that. I can't know everything.
I'm sitting here man, that's an amazing story. And then you say...
It's fake.
It's fake.
That's a cool ploy, though. That's a good way to wrangle people in.
Absolutely.
I was sold. I'll have to find I still have that wizard.
People would be I want to see this long-lost character.
Yeah, somebody that could draw pretty close to Jack Kirby had drawn a sketch and everything. And they did Jack Kirby's hand, signature at the bottom and stuff. It looked legit. This is before you could check Facebook to see if it was real or not. It didn't exist.
Yeah, true.
I didn't even have the internet yet.
Or was it Snopes?
Snopes?
Yeah, I think it's called Snopes. It's where you can look up things online and it'll tell you if it's been debunked or not.
Oh, no shit. I never heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, you're a theory guy, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I do. I do like my film theories. So let me ask you, are the end credit scenes worth sticking around for?
Yes, absolutely.
I was asked that today by a friend of mine. He's both of them? And I'm the first one is good. I said, the second one, though, you want to stick around for 100%.
Absolutely.
Do you want to reveal them or no?
No. We're not. We spoiled so much here.
Okay. I'm all right with that.
And if anybody's listening along, it's because you already know what happens, so you already know. All I know is it connects some things to some things in the future.
Yep.
And it's not Kang Dynasty.
Nope.
So there's that. It would have been crazy if Jonathan Major just walks out somewhere like, what the...
He just walks out and says, I'm innocent. No, so, all right, then all I'll say is...
He's getting his life back together, man. Yeah.
That is true. In the very last end credits scene, we had talked about the very ending of that. Do you think that means, and I'm going to be very vague, so if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about.
Be very vague. Go ahead.
Do you think that means they lost?
I think it's a high possibility. I think it could also be something that makes you look left instead of right. We don't know who's
like a
there.
red herring?
Yeah, we don't know there. I mean, it could...
Time travel?
It could be the fucking robot, dude. The robot find the ship. We don't fucking even know. Herbie. It could be fucking...
It's true.
Yeah. Or Kirby, where the fuck a robot's name
Yeah.
is. Yeah, we don't know who's on that ship. It could be just a recording on that motherfucker. We don't know. But I think it's definitely something that's trying to fool you. I think it's a cup game.
Okay. So who was your favorite member of the Thunderbolts?
The West Chesapeake Thunderbolts or the...
Shane's Thunderbolts.
Shane's Thunderbolts. Listen, it was the electric guy, but whatever. Because it wasn't... It was Alexi's electrical thing. Because he trying to say that he's the one that sponsored it. And not this Shane. My favorite member... Man, it's a toss-up between Yelena and Red Guardian. I mean, I like Bucky. He's great. I do like Walker. But as he was called out in the movie, like, you're an asshole. Like,
oh, yeah.
Like, it's funny. You're Captain America because you're kind of an asshole.
But I feel like he's kind of what most of us can relate to.
Yeah.
Trying to sugarcoat the truth, even to yourself.
For the short stint that I was in the military, I think he's closer to a lot of military guys that I've met in my life more than Steve Rogers.
Oh, really? Okay.
I don't know if I met a ton of people that probably would have jumped on a grenade, and I'm not calling into question anybody. I'm just saying there was a couple people I'm like, I don't know, man, this guy won't even shave, let alone jump on a grenade for somebody. They have an issue, but
right.
I'm going to say probably Yelena, though. She used the glue. She was so motherly and sisterly, and I don't know, she's just a really well done character. I was surprised when Black Widow came out in Avengers. I was like, I thought Black Widow was a blonde lady from what I had, like the Marvel encyclopedias, like the old Marvel Universe handbooks. Yeah. I always thought the blonde lady was first. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I'm glad because I always liked the blonde lady in the comics better than the redheaded lady. So it worked out. I liked Yelena better than Natasha. I just did.
Yeah.
So, and then Florence Pugh is just such an amazing actress. What about you? Who is your favorite member?
So I actually do have to go with Yelena as well, because I feel that I can relate to her struggles, I guess.
Because you're putting your kids through the Red Room?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you got to pay those assassin bills for...
I've been there in like that depressive state where you don't know what to do anymore. And seeing, a spoiler, towards the end, seeing her kind of have that light bulb moment of, I was wrong. You don't push it down. You need to be there for one another was just such I'm going to say it. It was such a powerful moment that I feel like that is one of the reasons that this movie topped the charts for me. The
emotional punch was bigger than the punch of destroying the big bad guy? Yes.
Instead of going the route of, we got to send a nuke up through this wormhole and save New York, it's...
I think Eternal...
I'm going to save this one person.
If Eternals would have had more of an emotional ending... I mean, Icarus, I didn't like that, him killing himself, but whatever. I mean, did he die? Who knows? We know, maybe. But like, if they would have went more of an emotional route, more of a serious, maybe that movie would have been a little bit better towards the end, because the end's the floppy part of that movie. Like, it doesn't
for sure.
hold up as well.
Well, it's kind of rushed, too.
Yeah.
For a long movie, it's still rushed.
Whereas this one here, you had the ability to do something massive, and you scaled it back, and it works.
Well, and it wasn't even like you've got to get your inner strength and win and work because he's beating the crap out of his alter ego, you could say. No, it's you can't give in to that. you can't give in to your inner weakness. Like, I'm not trying to get all like, yeah.
No, go ahead. I think people need to hear it. Go ahead.
I found it outstanding. When she gets up behind him and just hugs him, and she just says, like, "I'm here, Bob."
What I liked about that scene is the second person to jump in there was John.
It was. Yes.
I thought maybe it would have been Alexi or Winter Soldier. And Winter Soldier's the one that notices at first, like, this ain't right. But he looks around everybody, and John pulls the blade out of his shoulder, and he's the second guy to go. Even because because deep down, he is a good fucking dude.
But he's also broken. I think that's the big thing, is they're all horribly broken people who just want to be put back together. And I think they're realizing you can't be put back together, but together you can make something new. And I think that is what's so beautiful about this movie, is that it takes the whole Marvel idea of the good guys got to win, and it completely turns it on its head to sometimes, quote, the bad guys, can win in a good way. If that makes any real sense.
But you think there's good guys and bad guys, and then you realize one day that there's a bad guy and there's an even worse guy.
Yeah, that was a really good line.
Yeah, like that type of writing. And
was that Valentina?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good line.
She's a good actress. Julie is a good actress.
I liked her.
Emily hated her. She's like, I couldn't stand that lady. Like, you're not supposed to like her.
So the next two things we have on our list are disliked parts and liked parts. Let me just tell you, there are very, very, very few parts about this movie I didn't like.
I think we kind of sort of already went through the little tiny
we did.
Yeah. So I guess why I didn't fill them out. I figured, even though I wrote those sections, that we would end up talking through them.
The only thing I can honestly think of that I didn't care for, well, I think we already covered it. It was, we didn't get much backstory on Ghost or even on Taskmaster. Like, where were they?
Yeah, I think just 5 minutes on each of them.
Yeah, just a tiny, it was already a 2 hour and I think 15-minute movie.
It didn't feel long to me at all. Even on second watch, it didn't feel that long.
There was a point watching it where I felt like, I think it was where they were getting out of the bunker, like the big fight area. Mm. And I looked at my watch, and we were already a little over an hour in. I'm like, holy crap!
This movie doesn't take you to 100 different places.
No.
There's only a couple different set pieces, like you're here, and you're here. And then you go there, and you're done. Like, it's not like a globe-trotting, they're fucking everywhere. I mean, the guy had to drive through Oklahoma, and it's very long and very flat, but like, they're not everywhere. Yeah. Like there's some movies, the big scaled ones, where you have different, and I like that they kept them all together. You have, you have these two heroes here, and these two heroes here, and they're fighting these people, and they're fighting these people, and like they keep jumping around the entire movie, and it feels like nobody gets screen time. Or they're all kind of brought together and kept together.
And did you notice they didn't downplay travel time? There's a point where Red Guardian shows up way late to the party, and he's just like, I immediately jumped in I got my bulletproof limo and I drove. He's like, well, he says something like, this is a big country.
You drive through Oklahoma. I did notice an issue there. So he finagles himself to be the limo driver because he wants to connections to Vontaine.
Yeah.
So she says, give the coordinates, send them to Hoyt. Let's get this guy, or Holt, or whoever it is. And then they both leave the limo, and he's just sitting in there. And you notice that it's him. And then when he gets to Yelena, he goes, well, when I overheard the coordinates, where did you overhear the coordinates? They never said them.
I did catch that.
Yeah. But that's just a small...
He has super hearing.
Yeah, I guess. Mission Impossible for me is a franchise where it's all crazy shit. People are jumping out of planes and stuff, right? I like Ghost Protocol, which is part 4, because shit doesn't always go right in that movie.
Okay.
And at first, when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, why isn't John Walker doing this? Why isn't that person doing that? And I'm like, you know what? Because he's not Captain America. This person isn't Black Widow. So they don't think like the other. So I'm thinking not everything goes right. And I think that's why I like this movie a little bit, because not everything works out how they expect them to be.
Yeah.
Yelena, well, I'll use an explosion. No, don't use an explosion. There's too many variables. No, it's going to be fine. Guess what happens? She does it anyway. It doesn't work. And he's like, I fucking told you. You know what I mean? Like, listen to me. So I know I'm supposed to be talking about dislikes. I don't really dislike any part of this movie. I guess I could only wish for some more screen time for some people, and maybe just a little bit more boom when it came to Void. Like, it was dark and it was deep and it was fucking angry and weird and fucking traumatizing, but maybe a little bit more explosion.
Like, the resolution almost felt like, oh, nothing that happened really mattered. Except for the physical destruction of things. Everybody's fine.
I got a question, though. So when the shadow goes away and the little girl comes back and all the people come back, what about Holt or Hoyt, whoever that guy was, the wrestler from that canceled TV show?
In the
Rivals. Yeah, like, what happened to those guys?
Dude,
Did they just reappear in the fucking
people
sky?
People ask the same thing about the blip. What about people who vanished on airplanes? Did they reappear where the airplane was and just fall?
Yeah, like,
I'm
curious, Yeah.
Well, Russo brothers, please let us know. Come on, or not.
Well, if anybody wants to know.
Feige, let us know.
You said that people asked about, is the end credits worth watching? The last one was actually done by the Russo brothers because they're doing Doomsday and all the other shit.
Oh, okay.
They filmed the final one. The first one was the regular guy. The last part was the Russo brothers.
Well, and the first one felt like an end credits scene. The second one at the very, very end was like, 3 minutes? Like, it was...
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, are we just doing like a thing?
Solid end credits. I mean, I like it.
I miss end credits like that because we really haven't been getting them lately and it pisses me off.
We haven't been getting anything of value.
No.
Yeah.
No. So we've talked about what we dislike. We've talked about what we don't like, what we do like, and in between. Where do you think this lands for you? And I know it's fresh, so let's not be, it's better than Endgame. It's not. But let's just play devil's advocate for me, and let's just decide for you and me, where does this land for like the 37 MCU movies? It's 37, 35, something like that. It's over 30 now. So
I was thinking about this today, and I narrowed it down that I do believe this is in my top 3.
Top 3?
Yeah.
So what rarefied air does this have the pleasure of being around in your top 3?
Endgame, which I still think was just a masterpiece, and the original Captain America.
Oh, shit.
I put it all the way up there. Everything about this felt so well done, and I feel like the message behind this one trumps anything that we've seen so far.
I don't know if I'd put in the top 3, but I would put this in the original phase.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I would put it in that range of goodness. I'd put it up there with the original Iron Man. I'd put it up there. I like Civil War, and
it's like top 10-ish.
I'd put it top 15. I don't know if I'd put it top 3, but definitely top 10 or top 15. It's better than probably the last. It's better than Captain America. It's better than Quantumania. It's better than the Marvels. It's better than Thor: Dark World.
Do you like this better than Deadpool and Wolverine?
In a way, yes.
See, I said the
Deadpool and Wolverine you could probably quote it and watch it over and over, and it's fun and it's a great time. And I love Hugh Jackman. I'd love to have dinner with the guy and just chill. But that movie, I think, would lose its likability over time. It's just so balls to the walls
as
all the time.
As the references become dated and.
Yeah, like, it's just joke. Like, this one has more personal jokes where it's not just pop culture jokes.
See, I feel like Deadpool was more. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved Deadpool and Wolverine. We talked about it. We did an episode. It was great.
We gave that a 9. Are we giving this a 9? Because I gave that movie like an 8 or a 9 or something.
So Deadpool and Wolverine, I feel like it's hilarious. It's action packed. It's a great fan service movie. This, however, to me, it felt like a great Marvel movie, a great deep, here's the message, here's the story, take it or leave it. And I loved it.
I guess if you would have asked me if they would have come around the same time, Michael, do you like Wolverine, the one with Professor X? Is it called Wolverine? Is it Logan? It's been so long since
Logan.
If you would have asked me, do you like Deadpool and Wolverine or do you like Logan more? It's kind of like the same argument. Like, yeah, one's a bigger, crazier movie, but Logan is so much more personal.
They're completely different levels of movie.
And I would probably rewatch Logan before, and I'd probably watch this before as well. I wrote this down. This is what the rest of, as of this afternoon, what people were saying. Or not what people were saying, as in this is their review, but just the numbers and the review type shit. International Movie Database, IMDb, 7.7 out of 10. That's pretty good. Rotten Tomatoes, 88% and 94%.
Wow.
That's pretty decent. Letterboxd, 3.8 out of 5.
Okay.
And Cinema Score, which we never really talk about, an A-.
Wow, that's
and they're complaining that 78 million for the weekend isn't good enough.
Well, it's because people are gun shy to Marvel.
Because the last couple of them have been lackluster.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the nicest way I can say it.
And I'm not trying to be an ass about it, but look at Captain America. I didn't make it shy that I didn't care for that movie.
It was a letdown.
It was, and people were so ready for it after.
They advertised that movie as one thing, and they gave you another.
Well, yeah. But I mean, they came essentially off of Deadpool and Wolverine. That was the last Marvel movie we got. Expecting that, the MCU's back, baby. And then we got that. Which, it was a good movie. It just didn't feel Marvel to me anymore. I don't know how to explain it. It felt
Marvel to me. It just didn't feel Avengers to me.
Maybe that's what it is. This felt 100% like I was dropped right back into that world that I loved. Maybe it's because it was in New York at the Avengers Tower.
Let me ask you, though, when you watched Captain America and the Winter Soldier, the TV show, did that feel like Marvel to you? Because it did to me.
Oh, Falcon and the
Winter Soldier, I'm sorry.
Yes and no. I
felt like that did, but like the Captain America movie didn't feel as much.
See, the show, I don't know, it felt too military to me. I don't... That's just like Secret Wars. That didn't feel...
Civil War?
No, Secret Wars. It didn't feel...
Comics? Secret Wars isn't out.
What?
Secret Wars isn't out.
Secret Invasion.
Secret Wars did not come out yet. We're not there.
My bad. Secret Invasion, the AI one. I liked it. I thought it was good, but it felt too espionage spy, too
much James Bond going on.
Right. Marvel Comics was always supposed to be comics. It's supposed to be that so far outside of the realm of real that you have to use your imagination to believe in it. Like a man flying around in a suit, a mechanical suit, fighting crime. A man who can turn into a giant green dude.
So you think that they've over time leaned too much into Hydra, into S.H.I.E.L.D.? And
I feel the Captain America story, which, yes, I understand it is supposed to go more into the political. He's Captain America. But the very first one was what? Red Skull dealing with what they considered at the time a supernatural power.
Tesseract.
A cube, yeah. And then we go to Winter Soldier, which...
I like the Winter Soldier.
It's great movie.
It's one of my favorite ones. Oh, I love that movie.
I mean, but it played a lot more with the super soldier, the brainwashing, stuff like that. Even Civil War was good, but it was still starting to lean further and further into more of a political game.
Uh-huh.
I feel like we get to the new Captain America, and the only thing we got that wasn't essentially military based
was the Hulk.
Was the Hulk.
Yeah.
Everything else literally took place in a military base or had some type of military base behind it. Like the war between
one of the big set pieces in that was Carl Esposito's character in a shootout in a street.
Yeah.
Like what?
That's what I mean. Like,
I thought that was ripped off of a Blacklist episode that he was on, or that he wasn't on it. There was a character just like that. I don't know. It seemed very similar to that. But we're not talking about that when we were talking about this.
Yeah, I guess my issue is that it's a lot of those properties.
Too much politics.
They're pushing too far politics and too far military, and it's less out of the realm of believability.
It's not even the agenda of what people think. No, it's just the fact that there's AK-47s and there's M16s and tanks, and that's like, you want to see more of...
Sure, you're sending the SWAT team in to go get the Hulk, but it's the frickin' Hulk. You're sending the SWAT team in to get, Sam... Well, nobody cares.
Yeah, well, I see what you're saying, because the earlier movies were more like Thor. We have like gods and stuff.
You had to put aside your skepticism and just enjoy it. You had to...
Yeah, like, where's our Doctor Strange?
Let your imagination go wild.
Yeah.
I think that's why I didn't care for him.
Well, I mean, sorry, why we like this? No, don't be sorry.
Put my soapbox away.
No, you're allowed to have it. That's why we have a podcast, so we can say our opinions.
People are probably going to say, well, this one was all like military style. Sure, this one was espionage and spies, but it had super soldiers, it had phasing, it had, freaking god, like, dude.
Yeah, like, cosmic level.
This one
entity.
It forced you to accept that, like, I have to use my imagination to truly understand what is happening here.
This one was meant to be more grounded. That was the whole point. Or if you have blatantly told me Red Hulk is in this movie, I expect more. Whereas this one, I didn't like. I don't know how to say it.
Well, I mean, we knew Sentry was going to show up. We knew he was. We knew about the casting with Steven Yeun. We knew some capacity Bob was showing up, and then we saw him in the trailer. Hi, I'm Bob. But you still have to look forward to the moment you get to see it, like that payoff.
Are you glad that you didn't get spoiled? I don't feel like I got spoiled a crap ton from the trailers of this, that I got force fed.
No, I really don't think I got spoiled on this one. And I can tell you a bunch of people I've talked to about it, like saying, hey, I went to see it, it's phenomenal. They didn't even know what I was talking about. They didn't know about this movie. A lot of people are becoming Marvel blind. They don't even think about it, or they didn't even know it was a Marvel property.
That's good.
I personally think that this could be a really good stepping stone for their little soft reboot that they're planning.
Well, they have to, if they're going to keep rebuilding, if it's Daredevil and Thunderbolts as some of the new pillars, or at least the building blocks that everything's going to stand on, they have to look for character development. They have to go into the heart of the character.
Yeah.
Yes, I know we just talked about we want to see people flying and shit exploding, but you have to, at the end of the day, by the end of the movie, have to make me give a shit about that character.
Yeah, and I feel this movie did that for most of the characters.
Deadpool and Wolverine are great, and I do care about Wolverine, and Deadpool's funny, but I don't really care if Deadpool lives or dies. I don't give a shit. I don't want Wolverine to die, but I don't really care if Deadpool lives or dies.
I mean, he's died multiple times in the comics.
Like, I mean, if he was going to be permanently erased somehow, like a Celestial takes him out, I'd be like, oh man, that's, well, whatever.
Unfortunate, yeah.
But like, if you're like, oh, Yelena just got stabbed in the clavicle, she's bleeding out everywhere, they're making me feel like she's not going to make it to the end of this movie, I'd be like, no, what is going on?
Yeah.
When you see Red Guardian flip shit because he thinks she's gone, and you have to have two other super soldiers holding the super soldier back because he's flipping shit.
When he charged Sentry, I genuinely thought he's going to die. I genuinely thought that he is going to be the catalyst that forces the major battle. Like, I really thought.
Yeah. How'd you like a little bit harder the edge of language? Not like James Gunn's cartoon language, but there was asshole, there was shit, there was screw you.
It was dirtier, but I just thought it felt more realistic.
Somebody was told to eat shit.
Yeah.
Eat shit.
Like, I genuinely thought that it just felt like the dialogue almost felt like they're like, hey, here's your attitude, just go with it.
Yeah, it was like that, because that's how the Daredevil TV show is. It's like, that's how people would naturally fucking talk.
Yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, they could have shown Daredevil somewhere on a street. I mean, they were in New York.
Running by in the background.
They could have done that, but whatever.
And that was another thing I loved. Like, the Avengers, they showed up ready to fight. The Thunderbolts were literally getting out of Dodge. They were leaving.
They were actually going home. This is what they were going to do. They were going to go home.
And then each one of them, something happened that they couldn't just stand by and be a bystander. They had to intervene. And it kind of like each one of them had their own brief moment of, maybe I can be a good person.
Yeah.
And in their own way.
Well, in the comics, they're straight villains who have to change their colors. Here, it's more black. It's not as black and white. It's more gray.
The
I appreciate that.
And I just...
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. This movie...
I think you did, because I think you told me everything.
This movie was damn near perfect to me. I loved it.
Great movie. Where would you cast Adam Sandler if you could do a reshoot and throw him in somewhere?
Mel.
No. Valentine's.
We'll put him as the judge trying to...
The congressman?
Trying to impeach Valentine.
I think I would have made him just because Adam Sandler cost a little bit of money, I would have had him be the scientist in the beginning that gets. Oh, you don't understand.
Well, she's like, your face will work. Right? That's a face that'll open a door.
You're going to tell me this. You're going to tell me that.
I loved when they were fighting and she accidentally pulls his arm up and he pulls the trigger and shoots himself in the head. Yeah. And she's like, no, I needed that face.
Yeah.
And then nothing was better, though, than when she's walking out, it blows up the building, and you just know she's holding the hamster.
Yeah.
She took the hamster with her. I'm like,
she's got a heart.
Like, that is just fantastic. And then in the end credits, they're doing, like, the random little, like...
I thought we weren't talking about end credits.
No, not end credit scenes.
Oh.
In the end credits, they're showing, like, almost like AI designed pictures of the different characters, and the hamster was in a couple of them.
I don't know what more to say about this. I recommend people go see it. I give this a solid 8.5 out of 10, maybe almost a 9. At this moment, I'll give it an 8.5.
I give it a 9 out of 10. Easy. We've talked about it many times before. Anything dealing with depression, if it portrays it correctly and it gets a good message across, I'm all there for it. And I think that this had a really good hidden agenda or hidden message, not agenda, of like not fighting alone without blatantly saying it. And you
need a support system. That's how humans work. We're not meant to be isolated. You can be isolated for times and you can do things on your own and you can be self-sufficient. But the fact is you need other people.
Yes.
I've needed other people in my life to help pick me up. I can only go so far without other people to get me the rest of the way. And that's just the way it is. And I'm not afraid or less of a man to say so.
Well, and we've even said to each other before, don't be afraid to vent. Like, it's okay that we're here for each other, you know. And Danae was even crying at the end of the movie a little bit.
Really?
And I'll be honest with you,
the second time Yelena, I don't remember exactly what scene was toward. I think is when she closes her eyes to be taken by the void. I was like, I kind of choked up a smidge.
For me, it was when she hugged him and said, you know, like, I'm here, Bob, or whatever it was.
Yeah, that part's...
I teared up in the theater, like, that hit.
Well, because she just holding him before John gets there. She's kind of rocking and holding him.
And it wasn't even like, I'm going to pull you off, I'm going to save you, I'm going to help you. No, it's like, I'm here for you no matter what happens. And that sent a message louder than blowing something up.
So I guess the message that anybody can take from any of this is be there for somebody if you need to. Keep an eye out and don't be afraid to ask for help yourselves. I know we are living in a world right now where it seems like we're being told that anybody on the other side of the table is an enemy. It's bullshit. There's good people out there and you can be a good person too. Look for those good people. Help foster that goodness in the world. That's what we need. Not everybody in this world is an enemy. That's not how it works. And I'll get off my soapbox now.
Well, I mean, look at you and I. We have very, very different views on many, many, many things.
Many, many things.
And yeah, I consider you one of my best friends, and we have
likewise.
We have a baby together called the Tree of Geek podcast.
It's a dirty baby.
But all right, well, I think we've covered everything.
I don't have anything else to say now.
That we can. All I'm going to do otherwise is keep ranting on how amazing I thought this movie was, and nobody wants to hear that. So, you ready to wrap this up?
I am ready to put a bow on it.
All right. Well, if you enjoy what you hear, please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube or Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you're listening to us. Hit whatever thumbs up is available. I honestly don't know what's on all the different platforms.
Smash and like and subscribe. I don't know.
And ring that bell or whatever they say.
Or is it what is it, Long John Silver's?
No,
you did a good
YouTube,
job, but you ring the bell.
On YouTube, if you hit the little bell icon, it notifies people when your video goes up so they can come see it.
That shows you how much I'm on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, seriously, and if you have anything you want to say, please comment it down below, or you can hit us up on our socials on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, or get on patreon.com/Tree of Geek, and for only $5 a month, you can join our Patreon, where you'll get exclusive contents like bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes photos, as well as polls that you can vote on for upcoming episodes, and you can message us directly where we can chat with you.
Yeah, if you want to reach out, say you need me to talk to you for a minute, man? I'll talk to you for a minute.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you need some help, buddy?
Now, understand,
I'm right here.
We are not licensed professionals.
No, I'm not.
But we will happily lend an ear.
Yeah.
So, from the Tree of Geek, This is Josh.
Good job. I don't want to be sued. Gave somebody some bad advice.
May cause stomach irritation, irritable
It's only in
bowel
California.
syndrome. Oh, okay, never mind. But no, really.
I like California.
I'm going to get out of here. So from the tree.
Well, I'm going to stay here because I live here, but
no,
you can leave.
You have to leave too. From the Tree of Geek, this is Josh saying I will catch you in 2 weeks with the Wheel of Time.
We're going to officially do Wheel of Time. That is going to happen. So this is Michael, the 8th string. Going to put it back in the station, reminding you to just be good to yourself and be good to others. See you later.